Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to another Eternal news episode with more spoilers. So today we got a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in. Alright, so this is the first spoiler since we last talked. It's called Time Flies. It's a 0-2 flying for 1 that gives both players, or each player if there would be more than 2, which I doubt will happen anytime soon, but who knows, maybe it'll happen at some point that we get multiplayer with more than 2 people as like a casual format. And yeah, each player has +2 maximum power. So this is basically hyper acceleration for both players, while the guy, like the person that put Time Flies in their deck, will probably have built that deck to better take advantage of it and hopefully make it worth it for them. So yeah, I'm not super high on the card accelerating both players, especially the way the game looks right now. Still usually, especially in these amounts that are not like super high, still kind of like benefits both players even unprepared pretty well. So yeah, I don't like symmetrical effects like this, and I kind of doubt that there is a whole lot of ways to abuse it. Like some people mentioned, you could go like turn 1 this, turn 2 another one, and then on turn 3 you have 7 power and could go Isindel's Gift to punish the opponent for everything that they haven't played yet. But that still seems like a kind of a dream scenario. So yeah, not a legendary I would invest any dust into anytime soon, if you ask me. Next we have Resurface. That card was quite confusing to me initially because the wording is so weird, but effectively what this is a mystical tutor for anyone that played Magic. So we have a 4-cost warp, and it moves a spell of your choice to the top of your deck. So yeah, this means it moves a spell from your deck to the top, from somewhere in your deck to the top of your deck. So it's basically the Eternal version of put a spell of your choice from your deck on top of your deck, like Mystical Tutor. It has the upside of being free by having warp, but it also happens to cost 4 times as much as Mystical Tutor. But then again, Mystical Tutor was a fast spell and also is banned in some formats because it's too good, so that explains the difference here. But yeah, I'm not too high on the card, but there could be, like, I don't know, some combo deck where this could end up useful maybe, or like a control deck that wants like a small amount of this. Also keep in mind it only works on spells, so it's also worse than Celestial Omen, which is a fast spell and works on any card. But yeah, it's an interesting tool to know having around and be able to use if a deck asks for it. Next we have Rizan, Great Bowmaster. That's a really cool card, I think. First of all, the artwork is awesome. It's an incredible artwork. You know, full well guys that I don't care too much about things like that, but I'm like not ignorant of those either. And this is a really badass artwork. I love the artwork. It's really nice. And that is definitely one that stands out to me. For 6 power, double fire, double justice, we get a 5/4 flying reckless that also has lifesteal while you have 3 or more spells in your void, which is a bit weird to have something like spell related in Rakano, but okay, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, once Rizan has lifesteal, he becomes much more appealing, honestly. He's a Valkyrie, so that's also a relevant unit type for like a Rakano Valkyrie deck. Remember my Rakano Rebellion deck, my Valkyrie mid-range deck. This card fits right in, very welcome in that deck. And then it also has a nice summon effect that deals 3 damage to an enemy. That means unit or player, so you can kill a relic weapon with it, you can kill smaller units with it, or you can just deal 3 damage to the opponent, depending on what the situation asks for. This is definitely one of the cooler legendaries that should most likely have some constructed implications and will see some play. The Reckless can be an issue, like at 5/4 it Recklesses into Sandstorm Titan and loses in combat to it, doesn't even trade. Like if it would trade with Sandstorm Titan, the Reckless would be much less of an issue, but yeah, basically the opponent can punish Rizan by playing a Sandstorm Titan, then if you don't have a way to deal with the Titan, your Rizan is just gonna die for free. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And next and last for this video series, we have the end of cycle of cards as spoilers, as you might already notice by the video title of End of Spoilers, which was a bit of a pun and trying to mess with your people, so hope you don't take it the wrong way. Okay, first we have End of the Barrel. The whole cycle is made up of 6 legendary spells that have Warp and a powerful effect that gets more powerful with Tribute. End of the Barrel gives you 8 power for 6, free of a card if you warp it, and free of power. And if you trigger Tribute, keep in mind Tribute asks for a unit to go to your void. That means from your hand, from your deck, and from play, and from the enemy side of the board. So as long as a unit hit your void this turn, no matter how, no matter from where, Tribute is active, and then you get, instead of +2 power effectively, you get +4 power. Not too big of a fan of this card for now, but there might be cool things to power out with this. But yeah, a 6-cost ritual is still pretty expensive, and we already have the +2 power ritual at 3, where you need to have also triggered it conditionally. And yeah, so this is a lot slower, but it has a higher ceiling, and there might be something broken that you can do with it. But for now the card seems pretty so-so without knowing what specifically I would want to do with it, because right now there's nothing, no deck that comes to mind that I would want to build with this in it. Okay, next we have End of Days. This is a bit of a weak one if you ask me. Once again, we get to draw a sigil of each faction from your deck, so it's basically color fixing and power fixing. The thing is, it costs 6 and doesn't affect the board, so you draw 5 sigils. And you already have 6 power by the time you play this, so it's guaranteeing your 11 power, which is a bit weird, and fixing your colors this late is also not that valuable. And sure, with Tribute, you get to actually ramp from 6 to 12, but still not that great, but potentially actually better than End of the Barrel, sort of, although it turns slower, but ramps harder and color fixes and stuff. But yeah, still a bit too expensive and slow, usually, for what it does, this type of card in my experience, so nothing to be excited about in my book. Now we're talking End of the Story. And this is definitely the end of the story of this cycle, in a sense, because this is easily the best if you ask me. So we get a Harshrul that is 1 more expensive, but with Tribute we get a Harshrul that is the end of the story, so to speak, that wipes the entire board no matter what. It can't be countered by, say, Backlash and all that stuff, so it can't be stopped, and it can't be blocked by Aegis, so this is the first official effect that ignores Aegis, which is cool to see that there will be effects that ignore Aegis, which is really nice and gives people a way to fight back against Aegis. Downside is activating Tribute in a deck that wants this kind of card, like a control deck usually, is pretty tricky, so it's not that easy to play this with Tribute. And then it's basically just a 1 power more expensive Harshrul that can be free. So basically Harshrul that potentially draws you a card for 1 power more. But yeah, it's nice. If your deck wants more than 4 Harshrul, you can consider playing 1 or 2 of these. Like in Magic, there were a lot of decks, for example, that played 4 Ras, then they played up to 1, 2, 3 additional sweepers of a more expensive sweeper, because decks often wanted 5 or 6 or even 7 sweepers sometimes. and Leave a Witness is a bit expensive at 6, and the upside doesn't matter that often in true control decks. So End of the Story is a really nice alternative option. So this is a pretty interesting card. But don't get overhyped, the tribute is hard to achieve. Then we have End of Hostilities. You get to basically play a mirror image for free if you warp it. But unlike mirror image, I think mirror image only lets you copy your units. End of Hostilities lets you copy a unit, so also an opposing unit. So that's an upside here. And with tribute, you can do it twice. But once again, without the tribute, this card's really underpowered. And even with tribute, the card is not incredibly powerful. It's still really good though, if you get the tribute reliably, but also you have to, activate tribute in a turn and have 6 power to play this, which is not that easy of a task to achieve, if you ask me. And last but not least, we have the end of the line and the end of the cycle. We already talked about it. This is still one of the weaker cards in the cycle and not that constructed playable. I think since it simply doesn't get that much of an upgrade from tribute, and it's a bit like weak and situational for the cost. So all in all, I think the cycle is a bit disappointing, a bit underwhelming, unfortunately. And yeah, that brings us full circle with today's spoilers. I'll make sure to make another video about the tribute spoilers, the tribute spoiler article in the next video. Wanted to split this up to not make the videos too long and too overwhelming. So stay tuned for the rest of the current spoilers that we haven't covered yet in the next video. And hope you guys enjoyed this and found this interesting and helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe down below for future content. And yeah, see you for the next Eternal News with more spoilers. I am Manu S. This was Eternal News. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.